Everybody, so I do a little quick video. Don't know how old this thing is. It's in my hand, but I found something at the antique mall. It only cost me $5 and 50 cents because it was on sale. What did I find at the antique mall? What is something I like? It's police memorabilia. So it's metal. It's a pen. Metal police memorabilia that you pen on. It's a police badge! But this is a vintage antique highway patrol chief. I tried to find anything of this nature on the internet with pictures, and I couldn't find any pictures that looked like this. I looked up highway patrol. I looked up Tennessee Highway Patrol. I looked up antique highway patrol, and I just couldn't find anything of this nature at all. It's a shield. It's a badge. That's what they call these things. Both shields or badges are appropriate. It's got a interesting, unique design. It says Highway Patrol Chief. It has to be before they started using numbers, because it has no numbers on the back. It has no date on the back. I don't even know what symbol this is. This is just a generic highway patrol symbol, pretty much, with an eagle, bird. So it's just like a really old version of one.
I hope nobody slips on this wet floor.
It's a really old version of a highway patrol badge. So I found it in an antique mall that gets like estates. They get like estates that people don't want to have an estate sale, so they get the antique mall to sell their estates. So it's like a estate type. Estate sells antique malls, so this badge could have been in a person's house, could have, for 50, 60 years or something. It could have been in the house. I don't know if it's a kid's replica, type badge, or if it's an actual one. But when they were first issuing out badges, they didn't do very much. So when they were first issuing out police badges, way back when the police were not as scrutinized and were not as bad as they are. They didn't have as many bad apples in the police department back in the olden days, like 40s, 50s. They would issue out like badges, and they didn't really go into a whole lot of detail making these badges. It was the early form of law enforcement, so it's totally possible that when you were an early law enforcement officer, you would get something, just generic like this. They didn't have numbers yet. They didn't have, which kind of made it easier for a bad guy to impersonate a police officer, on the grounds that they didn't have all that stuff back in the West, and they didn't have all that stuff back in the early days of law enforcement. But still, it's a pretty cool badge. It's pretty cool police officer historic memorabilia. It's a circle shape. It's got a shield on it. It says Highway Patrol, and it has Chief, and that's all that's written on it. So maybe this was from a retired Highway Patrol chief officer or something in his estate. But anyway, they only priced it at $7.50, which I've paid up to $20 for a badge, or more for a badge before. That's a replica, and this is authentic. This isn't a replica. So this should be actually worth more. It's actually in decent shape. I mean, it's in decent shape. I'm not sure if it's got a little wear and tear on the back here, but other than that, it's fairly decent shape. I live in the state of Tennessee, so I can only assume it's supposed to be Tennessee Highway Patrol. But then again, maybe someone moved here from another state and they used to be on a different state's highway patrol. And then maybe back in the olden days, the highways were patrolled by cities and not states, or county, and maybe this was a county highway patrol or a city highway patrol or a district's highway patrol or something of that nature. Anyways, pretty cool highway patrol badge. I'm surprised that the pin is still connected and not broke, because with really old pins and badges and stuff, sometimes the pin will break because of old wear and tear, but in this particular case, not really. That's not the case, so that's good. It has some little wear and tear on the back, but for the front part, it doesn't look like too much wear and tear at all. Looks like the person who owned this badge, when they were using this badge, actually, took decent care of their badge because they had respect for their job, which was keeping the highways safe by patrolling them. Anyway, remember, God's good all the time. All the time, God's good. Keep on gaming. Keep on collecting. Back the blue when it backs the Constitution. Most law enforcement personnel are not bad apples. They are men and women doing their job just like the military. They actually care about the community. They actually are there to prevent and stop crime and criminal elements. So defunding the police is kind of stupid. Now I will admit, maybe the police need some new type of training, so there'll be more less attacky, less fighty, less angry, and more negotiating, more trying to take people and stop them and try to take them to jail without means of violence. But then again, when a criminal starts displaying violence, I think the police should be allowed to be violent back. I mean, it's self-defense. If someone punches you in the face, you have the right to punch them back in the face, right? Well, I think the same should apply to law enforcement personnel. But I also believe that when possible, in all cases possible, the police should be able to handle the situation with as little bloodshed and violence as possible. Now, yeah, they get shot at, they should shoot back. Yeah, I understand that. If they get attacked, they should attack back. But if they can defuse the situation without a gun or a fist or slamming someone down to something, they should be able to try to do that. I mean, there should be ways for them to de-escalate situations instead of escalating them worse. There should be ways for them to appropriately apprehend suspects without causing bodily damage to the suspects. Which means, yeah, I will agree that in some cases they don't need to be using certain holds that could kill a person. Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense, to not actually do something that could cause someone to die. But then again, criminals need to actually stop committing crimes. So there's part of the problem right there. Part of the problem is that society and the court systems are letting these same criminals back on the streets over and over and over again. And I mean, after a police officer's arrested the guy multiple times, he's getting a little pissed off that he's seen that same guy go to jail again and again and again, which means he's thinking to himself, my job is not working. Maybe if I beat the hell out of this motherfucker, he'll stop breaking the law and I won't have to take him to jail again. This will be the last time. Yes, police officers are human too. After they've took a guy to jail like 20 times, they're probably tired of it. If y'all would actually prosecute these freaking criminals, courts, give them community service and hard labor like we had back in the olden days, and make them do right, they wouldn't have so many repeat offenders. For all these loopholes where you get all the hook. Maybe if our justice system would get rid of some of the laws, I know some of the stupid laws that exist, like the unconstitutional laws, and the laws that are like no victim. There's no victims except for the there's no victim except for the person doing the crime. You know, the victimless crimes. That's actually what they're called in the law books. Is they're actually called victimless crimes. The only victim is the actual person committing the crime. Most of those are drug-related offenses. The only victim of someone smoking weed is the actual person smoking the weed, basically. The only victim of somebody recklessly driving super fast down the highway when there's nobody on the road is the actual person driving the car. It's a victimless crime. The only victim of not me in general, but of someone trespassing into a abandoned property or area is the actual person trespassing. And if there's no trespassing signs, then technically, yes, they are breaking and entering property that they don't own, but it's land most of the time. And if there's like a building there and and the buildings are unlocked, or they sneak through the window to explore the place, it's abandoned property. Nobody's lived there for years, and the only real victim would be the guy doing that. And if he got hurt, that's on him. Personal responsibility, basically. There's no other victims, per se. Now, unless you actually went in and took something, then yeah, you'd be stealing. But how long has the property been abandoned? Is it really still stealing if you take from an abandoned property? If the abandoned property's been abandoned for so and so long period of time, I don't think the person's coming back to get the stuff on the abandoned property. Yeah, but So the only victim, so in that case it's another victimless crime. The only victim is the person who might hurt themselves in the process of doing something of that nature. Yeah. This is supposed to be a short video, but then I got on a rant. Hey, it always gets longer when I get on rants. Yeah. Anyway, so part of the problem is our corrupt justice system. Part of our problem is we got too many damn laws. Part of our problem is that we have too many criminals that are repeat offenders. Part of our problem is we don't actually punish crime very good anymore. We try to rehabilitate criminals through a psychological approach without a rehabilitating with a... We need both a rehabilitation from a psychological approach and a rehabilitation with a punishment that fits the crime mentality. Maybe if people were actually punished for crime, they would not commit crimes. Instead of just talk to and try to figure out why they commit crimes. The reason why they commit a crime is irrelevant to whether they should be punished for that crime or not. If you commit a crime, you should be punished for the crime. The reason you committed a crime is irrelevant. So what? You stole a loaf of bread to feed your family. That's irrelevant. The reason you did it was the right reason, but you did something wrong. You still should be punished. It's irrelevant of why you did the crime. You could have asked for a loaf of bread. You didn't have to steal a loaf of bread. If you really needed to feed your family, you could have sat outside of the grocery store and said, "Can y'all please buy me some food for my family?" See the difference? The difference is, one, you actually admit your problem and you try to find solution to the problem. While the other one, you go and you just take action on your own to solve your problems. Action that is illegal and everybody knows is illegal. Also, it could help just a little bit. I'm going to throw this one out there, but maybe it might help just a little bit if we posted the 10 Commandments back on the walls, like in school and stuff. Now, I would even advocate that we post the same commandments from different religions next to each other. Like, with the 10 Commandments, like the first 4 are religious, so to speak. The last 6 are, the 6 of them are moral. They're like moral commandments. So if you could find maybe 2 or 3 other religions that said basically the same thing. Like, for example, the number one, the big one, that everybody should know is wrong is "thou shalt not steal," right? Well, I'm pretty sure we can find a couple of other religions that have similar sayings. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can find maybe a verse in like in some other religions. I'm pretty sure you can find verses in some other religions that say you shouldn't do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to throw this one out there. Even Satanists, and that's a religion, and atheists, and I will count that as a religion or a philosophy of sorts, both agree that stealing is wrong. So you could post some other writings, basically is what I'm saying, from other religions of the same commandment. Another commandment is thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor, which means thou shalt not lie, which is basically the moral equivalent of saying honesty is the best policy. You could post that along with the honesty is the best policy and a couple of other religious writings. What else? Yeah, I mean, yeah, stuff like that. Just those two. I mean, I would settle for just those two. I mean, if we just had those two. Now, the honoring your father and mother part, that your days may be prolonged upon the earth, I'm not exactly sure how good that one's going to work, but I think you could probably do that one. That one would need to be more of a honor your, your guardians, the people over you. That would be more of a respect authority type deal. Because not everybody has their parents, or both of them. Not everybody. You get what I'm saying is why that one could be a little offensive because it claims you got to have both parents. Not everybody has fathers, and not everybody has mothers. That might be part of the problem too in society. Just throw that out there. A lot of people are being raised by their grandparents. A lot of people are being raised by the state. At least until you're 18, and then they pretty much let you on your own. A lot of people are adopted, but that's, if you're adopted, that's still your parent or your legal guardian. So there should be something with legal guardians, maybe. But just the teaching people that that lying and stealing from a young age is wrong. Just those two, and posting them everywhere, like in the schools, in the courthouses, in the government buildings, in the backseat of the squad cars. I mean, shit, everywhere. Just post them everywhere, man. Just post those two main things everywhere in multiple different types of religion for inclusivity or whatever, and you'll be fine. Just those two. We get these kids to learn young that they're not supposed to do that shit. When they grow up, they won't be doing that shit. Maybe. Or at least they'll have known better, and you can go and say, you've been taught that since you were born. You know better. You're going to jail and hard labor. Or whatever. Punishment fits the crime. Type deal. You know better. Do right. Smash. Anyway, remember, God's good all the time. All the time, God's good. Keep on gaming. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Oh yeah, let's compare this badge. It's like an ad badge. It's about the same size. No, can't turn my free speech. Oh, Jesus is God. Jesus is Lord. Jesus is King. Jesus is ruler of everything. And man, it was supposed to be a short video about the badge, and it went into a 20+ minute rant about law and order and crime and politics and some other stuff. Yep, that's how I rolls. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great day. Oh yeah, comment down below if you actually seen this badge, know anything about this badge, know what kind of badge it is, where it's from, that kind of stuff. Later. Guys and girls, because there's really only two genders. Even says so on your birth certificate, and that's real science. Real science. Real science proves that there's only two genders. BS, psychological science. There are conditions, not actual genders. Laters.